Hi, I'm Peter Whittle. Now, just a very quick message from me, a reminder about our upcoming national conference. It's on Saturday, the 22nd of April. That's the day before St. George's Day in Birmingham. Do get your tickets. It will be a great day. So to do that, just go to the link below this video. That's our conference, NCF in Birmingham, 22nd of April. See you then. Hello and welcome to the show this week. I'm Peter Whittle. Now, trans activism appears to be reaching one of its many fever pitches over the past few months. It seems that there's not an area of public life now where it is not part of the scene. In fact, some people, though, I'm pleased to say, are fighting back what seems to be in a very aggressive campaign. One of them is Natalie Bird. She's with me now. She was a prospective parliamentary candidate for the Lib Dems. Thank you very much for coming.
Hi.
Thank you. Now, look, before we go any further, you're in the middle of a legal action, aren't you?
Yeah.
Can you explain, first of all, you know, what that entails at the moment, what stage you're at, and then we'll look at your story.
Yeah. We literally had last week a cost management hearing.
Yeah.
And that was to basically define how long the trial was going to last. It's been decided that there'll be a 6-day trial against the Lib Dem as a political party for discriminating against me as a female candidate and refusing to allow me to stand in the general election because I wore a T-shirt saying woman, adult human female to an eternal party meeting. Yeah.
Really? And was that the nub of it then? I mean, can you just tell us a little bit of background? I mean, how long had you been in the Lib Dems before?
I'd been in the Lib Dems a little while before, but to be fair, I'd really joined because of the European element, and that side of things. Then, obviously, all the legislation started coming through around the GRA consultation. And to me, I mean, that seemed so problematic and there seemed to be so many risks to women that weren't actually being mitigated or thought about or considered. Yeah. I thought it was my role within the party to obviously try to protect women, to ask questions around it. Yeah. You know, to say, how are we actually protecting women within this legislation? What is actually being done to stop this legislation being quite so problematic? Because obviously, you know, the very nub of self-ID.
This is the GRH. Can you explain what that is actually again?
The Gender Recognition Act.
Right.
It's basically where an individual can apply for a certificate and say they're born a male. They can apply for a certificate, costs them a small amount. They can do it online to basically say they are legally changing their gender from a male to a female or from a female to a male. Now, obviously, the effects of doing that open up quite a few, you know, different scenarios in day-to-day society that we need to really think through really, really carefully. And from my perspective, within a political party, you've got people that are rushing to say the mantra, trans women are women, but not actually stopping to think what are going to be the consequences of rushing this legislation through. Yeah. And I mean, Nicola Sturgeon's seen it in Scotland.
Yes, exactly, yeah. But I mean, this was, so this is an utterly respectable, reasonable, I would say totally commonsensical view, right? But then you say that it came down in some ways to, as you say, wearing a T-shirt which had that slogan on it. Well, what actually happened then as a result of you wearing that?
Yeah, well, I wore the T-shirt to an internal party meeting at the Lib Dems in Birmingham. Yeah, basically, we'd had, you know, the whole general committees and talks in the morning. And then we'd gone to lunch and a break for sandwiches. And at that break, I basically got accosted. A woman came across to me and she said, you know, in a very angry voice, why are you wearing that T-shirt? Yeah. And I said, because I think there needs to be a sensible discussion about all of this. And at the minute, we're only hearing the the perspective of one side of the argument. And then she said to me, are you a candidate for the Lib Dems? And I said, yes, I am, because I'd literally been approved to stand in a parliamentary seat, like literally a few days, a week before. So she said, right, well, we'll see about that then, won't we?
Really?
That was on the Saturday. And then on the Monday, I got a suspension letter through from the party saying you have been suspended from the party because you were wearing this T-shirt.
Good Lord.
And then, yeah, I wasn't able to run in the general election. I've been suspended ever since.
Does that mean as well that you've been expelled from the party, or are you just suspended still? Or
I've not been expelled, but I've had an indefinite suspension. And although they tell me that I've got membership rights, I don't have the membership rights that allow me to go to conference, so I'm being treated in a distinctly different manner than other party members.
And when was this actually? Can you just tell us when this happened?
This happened in December 2018.
Right, okay. And were you surprised at this woman's reaction? I mean, that might seem weird, but what was the context like in the Lib Dems? I mean,
you see, I think because I wasn't ingrained within the Lib Dems, and because I hadn't been in the party for decades and had family that had been in the party for decades, I think I'd actually stumbled upon the one thing within the Lib Dems that you're not allowed to question, because the party is very much, sets itself up to be all about the LGBTQ rights. And that's a great thing. And, we introduced some really good legislation around same-sex marriage. But introducing that legislation has stopped the wider party thinking about how the trans women and women issue is completely different to gay rights. And you're just not allowed to have conversations about it. I've been expelled from Facebook groups.
Really?
Other party forums, virtual HQs, all these different things, just for basically saying we need to think about these issues. Councillors need to think about these issues. Prospective MPs need to think about these issues, and we need to think through them sensibly. But even saying that has meant...
But why do you think, Natalie, that is? Why is there this kind of unbelievable, well, I would say aggression, hostility, but why is there this simple refusal to engage even on their part?
Well, I think what you've had is a couple of different things. One, I think you've had the same people within the same party that have been basically talking to each other for decades, that have formed viewpoints on these things. And I think a level of groupthink has developed around these issues. And then it's become something that you're not allowed to question, and you're not allowed to challenge, and you're not allowed to talk about. And I think the other part of it is you've had a number of activists that have joined the party that are then trying to use the party as a political vehicle for their own ambitions. From Stonewall?
From Stonewall.
Yeah. I mean, the Stonewall Trans Advisory Team is made up of people like Helen Belcher, Sarah Brown, who was a candidate in Cambridge Award. Now, Sarah Brown and her partner were the first ones to go to the party president at the time, Sal Brunton, and try and get me expelled from the party when I first questioned this. Helen Belcher has been leading the Scottish advisory team around Nicola Sturgeon's GRR bill. So, I think when you've got that going on within the political party as well, and you've not got people within the party actually assessing the risks of these policies and the risks to other groups, then I think you kind of easily get into a dangerous situation.
Would it be true to say that this is the overriding view of most Lib Dem members that you came across, would be, a trans women or women? Would you say that about them, or It's hard to tell, presumably.
I would say what you've got is this big disconnect between your local parties and your ordinary members and the top levels of the party, yeah? And I would say your local party members all across the country are not even aware of this issue. They're not aware of what it really means. They've joined the party for other reasons. They're going out and they're delivering focus leaflets week on week, and they're wanting to do something really positive for the country and for the party. Then at the other side, you've got the top levels of the party, and you've got these key trans activists that have obviously, you know, been part of that. And a level of groupthink has developed. And like I say, only one opinion is allowed. Only one viewpoint is allowed. Even asking the most reasonable and banal of questions, will see you, you know, thrown out.
When this happened to you, you know, when this was all going on, what was the effect on you?
It's been really kind of hard going because, you know, you're constantly targeted by these people. And
what, social media?
I mean, you know, there was a long point in time where basically anything that you basically tweet on social media is subject to a pile-on, and you know, and you've got activists all across the country that are telling you that you're the most terrible, horrendous, evil person. And you know, to have that level of hatred thrown up against you daily is tiring.
Are you, when you say you're, so basically you are suing the Lib Dems for this, what does that actually mean practically speaking, Natalie? Who do you sue in that situation?
The current party president is who's been sued at the minute, and the head of the English Council. So they are the two people.
And what about Ed Davey, the leader? I had to actually just suddenly think there who the leader was, sorry, but Ed Davey. I've seen that he has done some interviews and things. Your name has come up. What is his basic reaction? Is he sort of taking the Keir Starmer line of, well, you know, women can have penises too, or what is the?
Well, I don't know. Recently, we've seen nothing but total silence from Ed Davey on this debate. I mean, every time that he's been questioned by Andrew Marr and Ian Dale and various people on my case, to me, he's not been able to give a very coherent answer as to why I'm wrong, or what I've actually done wrong, or why I can't actually ask these questions, and why we can't, you know, really think about the legislation that we're pulling together.
But also just presumably why you can't have a differing view in a political party.
Well, the whole point of liberalism is differing views. The whole foundation of liberalism is non-conformity. So to say that you've got a party foundation that's built on non-conforming, and yet you're throwing somebody out of the party because they're not going along with the current groupthink, to me seems absolutely ludicrous.
But isn't it also ludicrous also with other political parties? I mean, you've got the Lib Dems, but also Labour. And do you know what? I'd go so far as to say the modern Tory party too, that if you were to wear a t-shirt, some people would slightly mentally back away from you a bit, even though your view is the one held by the majority of people in the country.
But within the Lib Dems, they've got a whole party faction that designs and produces slogan t-shirts, that they wear all the time to various different events. So to say that these kind of t-shirts are all okay and fine, but I'm triggered by that t-shirt, rather than expelling me, maybe they should actually ask, what is it about that t-shirt that's making me feel so triggered?
Yes, exactly. Has it made you more determined, this whole thing? I mean, has it made you more, you know, will you become more active, even more active?
Well, I think the whole thing that has been missing from this debate, is common sense and people actually thinking it through. Because the thing that's really disappointed me in this whole political sphere, whichever party, is you've had politicians that are too quick to say trans women are women, because they're worried about offending people and they're wanting to be kind and they're wanting to be liked, and you know, all of that is all well and good. But if we're going to actually build working legislation for the country, we need to think further down the line than just saying trans women are women. We need to think about, okay, what are the implications going to be of us saying trans women are women? And what are the implications of trans women being let into, you know, refuges and other places where women need to heal, and prisons. Prisons is a massive one. It's like, why should we put the most vulnerable women in society at further risk because our politicians aren't doing what they're paid to do and just stepping back and actually thinking it through and creating really good, well worked out legislation?
You know, you mentioned that you went into the Lib Dems partly around the EU issue, the referendum issue, presumably. But when did you first personally become aware of the trans issue?
I think I only became aware of the trans issue when I started raising questions around the GRA, and obviously I'd looked at the legislation and gone, this self-ID to me looks highly problematic. I started raising questions, and then the next thing that I'd kind of known, Sarah Brown, based in Cambridge, and her partner Zoe O'Connell had then sent a letter to Sal Brinton, who was then the party president at the time, saying that I needed to be expelled from the party. And that was the thing that kind of got me thinking of what is actually going on here, because, you know, you've got every right to identify however you please, but I've got every right to my viewpoints as well. And where there are differences, we need to have sensible discussions and debates, not go targeting people and trying to get them removed from political parties.
You see, I would totally agree. Any kind of reasonable person would. But then when you see the kind of displays we've seen recently around Posey Parker, you know, in New Zealand, Australia, and here at Hyde Park, you realise actually a reasonable debate is simply not possible with these people. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, again, it's like you've got a whole group of people that are getting triggered and angry because people have got a different viewpoint to them. In a society, we all have different viewpoints and different opinions on things and different perspectives, and where there are conflicts, we discuss those things. We sit down and we talk them through and we talk them out. There seems to be a group of people that, one, they're getting triggered, but two, they're wanting to force whatever their own internal belief is and wanting other people to almost validate them. And we don't have to validate them. I mean, they can believe that they're anything they want to say they are.
You see, I would suggest that people who get that angry when confronted with, say, like adult human female, or it could be on another load of issues actually, but I would say that they get angry because part of them knows it's right and they can't bear that, you know. I mean, you've got biology on your side is what I'm saying. But everyone knows this.
You know, if you are getting triggered to that degree by a statement, then perhaps, you know, you shouldn't be in a political party if you're not able to kind of just be sensible and reasonable and have reasonable conversations. And I think we all need to kind of get back to, one, sanity and common sense, but two, actually being able to talk these things through. I mean, the country at the minute is so polarised anyway. We've got the trans issue, and then we've got Brexit, which is still polarising the country. And somewhere down the line, we've stopped having conversations with people that we disagree with. And I think that is kind of causing its own kind of issues.
Yeah, I see. Although I would say actually that on this issue, the trans issue, there is far more agreement actually amongst the broader public than maybe on Brexit or whatever. I mean, let's face it. I imagine,
well, Brexit is made up of multiple issues.
Yes, but I imagine that you and I, well, we wouldn't see eye to eye on the EU. I'm sure. You know. But the thing is, here we are agreeing on this.
But I don't think there is ever going to be any person in the country or that you can agree with on any, you know, on everything. You have your own viewpoints and perspectives, and other people have their own viewpoints and perspectives, and that's fine.
What is the timeline now then? So you're in the middle of a legal action. So basically, you know, you explain what that is. If you win, I really hope you do. Presumably, no more Lib Dems for you. I would have thought. Is that right? You wouldn't get back involved in the party.
I can't imagine I'd be welcoming the Lib
exactly.
Dems.
I wouldn't have thought. So therefore, so basically, will you do more activism around this issue?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, I really want to get more involved in politics generally.
All right,
and I think that's kind of this issue and more general political issues for me. You know, I wanted to run as a candidate, as an MP, and that's still something that I would like to do. And, you know, I won't be welcome to do that in the Lib Dem, so it'll be finding a pathway after the, you know, the court case is done and finished. Obviously, you know, we've got to wait on the court to give us actual dates, and we know it's going to be a 6-day hearing, which is a fairly substantial hearing against the party.
In terms of finance and everything, I know, I understand you have is it a crowdfunding page?
Yeah, I've got a crowdfund. Because
what if people who watch wanted to help you in that way and send some money? What should they, we can put any link
so
under this video, but what is the name of the...
It's called Natalie Bird Legal Fund.
Right, okay. And essentially, how are you doing so far?
Yeah, it's doing well. It kind of keeps on creeping up. But again, you know, if we are going to fight this, we do need to have the funds to be able to fight it effectively.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the more...
Right. And it was called again, it was just called Natalie
Bird Legal Fund.
Legal Fund.
Yeah.
Very simple. We'll put that on underneath the video, Natalie. I mean, all the very best for it.
Thank you.
Very best wishes for it. And it's great to see someone actually having principle in politics. You say you want to be more in politics. A revolutionary approach these days is to stand up for something that you believe in. But thank you very, very much indeed for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week, and we shall be back next week. See you soon. Hello. If you're enjoying the New Culture Forum channel and you believe in our mission, may I invite you to join our membership scheme at the link below or on our website, newcultureforum.org.uk. Our work is more important now than ever, and we have great plans ahead for the future, but we can't do it without your support. From as little as £3 per month, you can help ensure that we continue on our mission. As a member, you'll receive a range of benefits, including access to exclusive content, invitations to our private events, including here at our studios, free copies of our books, and much, much more, including, of course, our famous NCF mug. If you aren't able to become a member, then please help us by clicking this button and subscribing to our channel. It's completely free. Just remember to also click the bell icon so that you can get notifications when we post new videos. Thank you.